Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for yet another video about castor oil, so that's why I'm calling it even more about castor oil. So this is actually a part 3 because I keep finding more uses and reading more things about it, so I want to just keep sharing with you. And what I'm going to actually do, even though these videos go into my playlist on the benefits and uses of herbs and more, I'm going to start a separate playlist for just castor oil related videos. So this will be in that, and I'll be linking to the full playlist down below. So one of the things I can actually attest to now that I've been using this on a more regular basis on my eyelashes and in my homemade mascara, which I've been using all along, but I've actually increased the amount of castor oil I add to my homemade mascara by 3 to 4 times as much. So if you want to see that video on how to make your own mascara, I'll link to that down below. It can also double as an eyeliner if you like to use like a brush for like a liquid eyeliner. It works really well for that. Every night, and usually in the morning after I put on my skin cream, I will also take some castor oil out of my little bottle right here. I have 3 in small bottles. One I keep in the bathroom, one I keep in this room, and one I keep in the living room. And then I will actually massage that into my eyelids and into my eyelashes, and I don't worry about it getting into my eyes. In fact, I've actually used it directly in my eyes, and yes, you can do that, but I find that doing that too often, too many times in a row, does kind of bother my eyes. So the best way to actually use it is to actually massage it on your eyelids and all around. And it will kind of get it a little bit into your eyes, and it can be very healing. I'm going to cover more of that in a bit. But the one thing I've really noticed when it comes to the castor oil is that I have seen my eyelashes going back to the way they were like 20 years ago, back when they were thicker, you know, before I started going through the change and my hair thinned out. And yes, the hair on my head is, believe it or not, a lot thinner than it used to be, but thankfully I have a lot of hair. But anyway, I've seen my eyelashes kind of regrow back to the way they used to be, which has been really exciting as far as that goes. So I can attest to that it does work. Now, it's probably not going to give you more hair than what you normally would have produced. But if you've lost a lot of hair due to various things, castor oil can be very helpful at replenishing your hair supply again, which is why it is something I add to my hair growth oil. I'll put that recipe in the description box down below, as well as a few other recipes such as my joint and muscle rub and just my basic infused oil for skin cream, except the difference is with those videos, even though I did do a short update on this, one of the things I do differently now with these 2 oils is use at least 1 part of castor oil to whatever other oil you're going to use to do your infusion in about 3 to 4 parts. You could probably go a 1-to-1 ratio, but my concern about infusing herbs into castor oil is that it is very thick, very viscous. And if you get it too thick, it's not going to infuse quite as well as it will as if it's less viscous, a little more runny. So that's why I do recommend mixing it with another oil that's going to suit you, such as I typically use avocado oil. You can use almond oil or even grapeseed oil, whichever one you prefer. And I do think a 1-to-1 ratio would probably work well. But anyway, that's what I'm doing for the joint and muscle rub oil, is infusing 1 part castor oil to 3 parts of avocado oil when I do the infusion of these herbs and spices for using on joints and muscles. And I would say about the same for the skin cream if I start doing that. My only concern about doing that this way is I'd probably have to set that jar aside for myself. I get concerned because people can have allergies to castor. And so since I also sell my skin cream, I would do that separately just in case there's somebody that does have an allergy and can't have the castor oil in their skin cream. So that would be a jar I'd have to set somewhere else. Now, some other things I've learned more about is how helpful castor oil can be for digestive issues. In fact, I had a video come out recently, which is another series I've recently started on where I collect different people's natural treatment, natural healing testimonies. And that can be anything from using herbs to to oils, to whatever it is, that have helped them recover or at least do much better by doing that rather than using pharmaceuticals. And it can be for anything. So one of the testimonies in one of those videos was about a lady who was ingesting small amounts of castor oil on a daily basis to help with her digestive issues. And she says that it's just really made a huge difference. So if you'd like to see those videos, I'll link to that playlist down below. There's 2 in it at the time this video is publishing, but I should have a 3rd one coming out in that pretty soon. And another new thing I've started doing with the castor oil is when I make my homemade soaps, I just keep our soap very, very basic. I don't add scents and stuff to it. So I actually replace some of the coconut oil with castor oil instead. And it's maybe about 15 to 20% castor oil that I put in there. And I love what it does with the soap. It just makes it richer and creamier. It makes it lather up even better. And so it's another way that you can use your castor oil is adding it if you're already making your own homemade soaps. Now, a lot of people have been asking me more about castor oil for eye health. Now, I have not seen a huge difference in it helping with my eye vision, though I've had quite a few people say it's helped them with things like glaucoma, even cataracts. It can supposedly help dissolve cataracts, which I thought was interesting. I can't remember if I got any actual testimonies on that it worked, but it is said to help with that and with other eye issues. Now, one thing to know about castor oil when you're buying it, what you need to look for is preferably organic, but most importantly, cold pressed. It does not have to say hexane free on it because cold pressed means it is hexane free. That means they didn't use those chemicals to extract the castor oil, but rather they use the cold press method. So there would not be hexane in a cold press castor oil. So as long as it at least says that, you don't have to worry about whether or not it says hexane free on it. I do get mine from Halal every day, and yes, it does come. I like to buy it by the gallon to save money, and I'll put the link to their website down below because you can save, I think, 10% or 15% by going through my link. I really like their castor oil. It is organic, and I buy it by the gallon. And then if you're concerned about it being packed in plastic, you can always repackage it into glass jars, glass bottles, like I've done here for use. Now, I want to talk about the plastic thing again. I've talked about it several times about castor oil and plastic because there's a lot of people talking about, oh, you shouldn't buy it in plastic because it leaches toxins from the plastic. And like I said before, I did some deep research into that. I've looked and looked and looked, and I cannot find any actual evidence of this. I've just found, and I guess there's a couple people now putting out videos on this talking about it, but nobody's able to give the actual evidence, that at least not that I've seen. But before all this suddenly came out, which has been maybe about a year ago that this started, people started freaking out about castor oil and plastic. Nobody was talking about it. But I was at that time researching what oils are safe to use with plastic as a lubricant that would not degrade the plastic, and castor oil was the one oil that I could find that would do that. Though everything is always best packaged in glass anyway, you're usually going to be paying a lot more to buy something in a glass container if you already have jars and bottles that you're recycling, like these Fever Tree, you can just do that and repackage it into glass if you're concerned about the castor oil sitting in a plastic container. But you also should know that in quite a number of cases, I did learn that it's not all cases, but a lot of times castor oil, when it is shipped in drums, it is shipped in plastic 55-gallon drums. So when you buy that castor oil in a glass bottle, you don't know whether or not it was really already shipped in plastic unless you call that company and ask them specifically. And I know a lady that did call a company of a castor oil she was buying in glass just to learn it was shipped in plastic in the first place. So if that's the case, just buy the castor oil and then repackage it if you feel more comfortable doing that. But just also remember that castor oil is less likely to leach any toxins from your plastic than any other oil because it doesn't degrade the plastic. I'm not saying it doesn't at all. Again, glass is always best, But I'm just from my own personal research, and I keep looking into it to see if I can find any evidence. And just know too, a lot of people that talk about this are the same people that will store their castor oil packs in Ziploc bags that are plastic. But it could just be like any of us. We get so used to using something a certain way that we forget, oh, I'm going to be very careful about doing this in plastic. And then later we go and put it in plastic without even thinking. It happens to all of us. So that could be all it is. Now, another thing I want to come back to that I mentioned in my last video about castor oil is there is a really excellent blog that I came across, and I'm going to link to it in the description box. So make sure you click on more or show more so you can find the different video links I'll be putting down below, plus this blog link. She did a pretty thorough blog about castor oil and its many uses and how to use it and how to make your own castor oil packs, how she's used them, what they're good for. So I wanted to read again because I don't think I read off some of these things. Some of the things that she had in her list that castor oil is good for helping with, especially the packs. And I just want to read this off, but please go check out her link to learn more specifics about it. The packs can be good for ovarian cysts, for thyroid issues, for a liver detox, or even liver disease, for constipation. So some people would take castor oil internally, but if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can actually use a castor oil pack to help with constipation. Inflamed joints. This is why I add it to my joint and muscle rub. Headaches and migraines, gallstones, and lung infections. And this is just a few of the things on her list. So again, please go check out that link to learn more about it. And I think that was it. This was going to be a little bit shorter video, but please go check out my other videos about castor oil. That again, I'll be linking to that playlist down below so you can learn more about what I've learned. And I just keep adding to it as I go. And I keep finding more ways to use castor oil, and find the more I use it, the more I love it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any of your own testimonies you'd like to share about castor oil and how it's helped you, please put them in comments down below, and or you can email me at raincountryhomestead@gmail.com and share your personal testimony. And I don't read names when I read these off, by the way, in my videos, and that would be something I can add to a video down the road that is going in that other series. So anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and God bless.